Okay, good evening. We're glad that you're here for the second in our series of town hall meetings. This is our District 2 meeting. You all already knew that. I am your Mayor, Lauren Poe, but I am going to get rid of my normal responsibilities as chair and pass those to Commissioner Ward in just one moment. The first thing I need to do is officially call this meeting to order. So is there a motion? So I'm going to call the meeting to order. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Okay. I'm afraid only a duly elected and sworn member of the commission is able to do that, but we appreciate your enthusiasm, sir. There was a second? Okay, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes unanimously. And so with that, as is our tradition, I am going to pass the metaphorical gavel over to our District 2 Commissioner, Harvey Ward. Commissioner Ward, welcome. Thank you for hosting us, and the meeting is yours.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Thank you all for being here. You never know if we're going to have 20 people or 200 people at something like this. This is a brand new thing that we're doing, trying out. We had one last quarter at Ironwood for District 1. We'll have one next in District 3. I'm not sure what the planning is for that. And then we'll have one at District 4 the quarter after that. So we hope to make this a tradition and continue to move around the city and allow people to come be a part of meetings without having to go to City Hall, although you're certainly always welcome at City Hall every first and third Thursday at 1 o'clock until we're done. So thank you, staff, mostly, for being here, and thank you to neighbors for coming out tonight. We've got some snacks for you. What we're going to do is I'm going to introduce the rest of the commission briefly, and then we'll go into some presentations about a variety of things that you may not know about the city and city government, and we hope to inform you this evening. And during the course of those questions, or of those presentations, if you have questions, fill out the little card on the table, and when you get your card finished at any point, kind of wave it around, and one of our clerk staff will come around and pick those up, and we'll go through them, and I'll do my best to answer at the end of the meeting, or the appropriate staff folks will do their best to answer. So again, thank you for being here, and with that, I'm going to briefly introduce my colleagues who have been able to be here this evening, and if they have any brief comments, I'd love to hear from them. So Gail Johnson is our at-large commissioner, and she's not up for election this time. She's got a little ways to go, and she is chair of our equity committee and has been doing a tremendous job as a city commissioner. So Commissioner Johnson, you have some comments?
Yeah, not really. So yes, Gail Johnson, I'm really thrilled to see you all here today, and happy that you all could take part in this town hall. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner David Ariola from District 3.
Thank you. My name is David Ariola. I am the City Commissioner for District 3, which for District 2 residents is just across the way from 16th and various other borders. So I'm happy to be here to support my colleague. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mayor Lauren Poe has already spoken with you, and District 4 Commissioner Adrian Hayes Santos.
Hi, thank you all for being here. Looking forward to the conversation.
All right, wonderful. Again,
Commissioner, I would be remiss if I didn't go back to my roots. I was originally the District 2 Commissioner,
yes,
way back in 2008, and so I'm back home.
Absolutely.
And I'm one of your constituents as well.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Well, we have a forum in your neighborhood on sometime in February, so I'll look forward to you being there.
Probably won't. Thank you.
All right, again, thank you all for being here. We have a lot going on in the city of Gainesville. Most of it you don't read about very often because things just happen, right? And you take parks for granted. You take GFR for granted because you hope your house doesn't catch on fire. You hope you don't need those fire and rescue services. But GFR is out there doing an amazing job and is one of the premier fire rescue departments in the nation, and they have some innovative programs going. And you may not realize this, but because of the high ISO rating that Gainesville enjoys from service of GFR, your insurance rates are lower than they would normally be. So we're very pleased to have them with us, very pleased to have Wild Spaces Public Places represented this evening. You'll hear some a presentation about that, and you'll hear some, let's see, what else do we have? Whoops, oh goodness. Yeah, I'm going through your thing here.
So GFR, wild spaces, and mobility.
Okay, and Department of Mobility, which is recently renamed, you might previously have thought of it as just RTS, but it includes so much more than RTS, because mobility is the way we want to think about it. It's how we get around in traffic, particularly this evening, how we get around on transit, how we prepare for new modes of transit, as we'll be doing next week when we roll out the autonomous vehicle in downtown to campus. And everything about moving around, we want to think about that as mobility, not just as buses and cars, but all the ways that we move our people around our city and our community. So again, thank you for being here. If you have questions, write them down, wave the card around, clerk staff will pick them up. And with that, I'm going to introduce Betsy Waite from our Wild Spaces Public Places Division. Wild Spaces Public Places, of course, is a tax that we all pay, and we have been putting it to great use. You can see part of it around you as we rebuild Northside Park with Wild Spaces Public Places money. And Betsy has lots of things to tell you about with this. Pretty soon. Come on up, Betsy. Thank you.
This is probably okay. Can I just do this, the clicker? Oh, you're fading. Hi, so good evening. Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to provide you with an update on some of our wonderful construction projects. So as Commissioner Ward said, so I'm the Director of Wild Spaces Public Places, so the city allows me to manage many of your park improvement projects, which is a distinct privilege. So here we have a slide just showing what Wild Spaces and Public Places is currently touching in the city of Gainesville. So we have a handful of wonderful projects in District 2, but we have almost 30 projects that we're currently working on throughout the entire city of Gainesville. There's more to come. We'll have a next iteration of projects that will be discussed in the coming months, but we currently have a lot in the works, so a lot of very exciting improvements going on in the city of Gainesville right now. And so one of the first projects I'll discuss with you is the Hartman House at Hogdown Creek Headwaters Nature Park. So it's only a mile down the road. It's right off of Northwest 45th Avenue. Okay. And so this is a photo showing kind of the current conditions. And so the park was renovated about 2 years ago. And so there's a beautiful new playground, some outdoor musical instruments, a walking trail is also part of that nature park. And if you look in this photo, so behind that playground, the musical instruments, you see the Hartman House. And so the Hartman House,
Oh, yeah, hold on, because it couldn't, we have to go.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
So the Hartman House is where the Hartmans ran a dairy farm for over 3 generations here in Gainesville. So these were the milkmen, men and women of Gainesville, bringing milk to your doorstep for over 100 years. And so just recently, we started a renovation project on this home. We originally thought it was going to be from about 1910. After peeling back some of those layers, we have found out that the house is probably more from the 1890s. And this is just showing how the house had to be lifted, and all the structural supports, all the foundation had to be completely replaced due to the settlement over 100 years. So yes, so if you were not there, this is what it looked like at a much faster rate. And so the building's currently under renovation. The project will complete this summer. We're looking at the June timeframe, and the center is going to be, or the home will be converted into a nature center that will facilitate children's programming and will also just be open to the public for other uses as well. And so here are just some additional photos showing the work that's been happening in the last few weeks with the renovation.
Mike Crutch Farm. That was Mike Crutch Farm.
Okay, thank you.
Whose farm? Mike Crutch. Mike Crutch, the great Tom Petty's farm. That's what we're talking about here today.
Okay. Nope, the next one. Okay, and so I don't know if we have any craftsmen or woodworkers in the room, but inside the building there's some really beautiful heart pine wood that we discovered after peeling back layers of drywall and plaster. And so this is just a photo showing how they're renovating it and just sanding everything down, restoring it to its original beautiful condition. And so you can't really buy wood like this today. But anyway, so some very beautiful things are being discovered as we start really diving into that restoration project. Okay, and then this is a rendering just showing what the house will look like when all is said and done. So much to come. And so at Howard Bishop Middle School, this is the next project I'll be discussing. So we're going to be, next slide, we're going to be restoring the track. So we're working in partnership with the School Board of Alachua County. We're kind of waiting to hear from them how they're going to be going through the renovations to all those buildings on the school site. So once we kind of hear their timeline and their plan, then we can start our construction timeline for renovating that track. So the track would be open to the public after school hours and on the weekends. So it's a partnership project similar to J.J. Finley Park if you haven't been out there lately. Okay, and here we are at Northside Park, or the Senior Recreation Center. So next slide. So we have a really wonderful $2 million renovation project that is happening. We're almost in the middle of it. And so there's going to be something here for everyone. We're going to have an intergenerational play area. This is a partnership project with the Rotary Foundation of Gainesville. We have Ed Book in the room if you'd like to learn more about joining the Rotary. But they provided the city a $100,000 grant to help build this intergenerational play area. Nope. Oh, sorry. So the intergenerational play zone is going to include outdoor games such as bocce, petanque, pickleball, tennis courts, table tennis, checkers and chess, an outdoor patio, a large pavilion and grill, some shaded seating and viewing areas, a walking path. New racquetball courts are also included as part of this project, and an expansion of the parking lot. So you can get over 40 new parking spaces. And parking here is very high demand at peak hours, so we definitely acknowledge that need, and it will be coming soon. So the work in the parking lot has begun. We had a little bit of weather delays in December, but the parking lot work should be completing towards the end of February. So if you use the Senior Rec Center, we appreciate your patience, but new parking is going to be coming very soon. Okay. And then the next couple of slides are just showing construction of the racquetball courts. If there's any engineers in the room, we'll have some great underground improvements taking place as well. Next slide. And then this is construction of those petanque and bocce courts. And the last and final project I'm going to go over this evening is Spring Tree Park. And so this is located on 39th Avenue in the 2700 block. And this is a neighborhood nature park. Next slide. So the existing conditions, there's some trails out there and some limited playground equipment. And we're going to be going through a really nice renovation project this summer with a brand new playground, some nature-based play elements, a pavilion, and we had a couple meetings with the community, and this is really what they would like to see in their neighborhood nature park. So we're excited to bring that to you as well. And last but not least, so Reserve Park recently completed. I know that's in District 4, not District 2, but it's very close. And so I'm just going to extend an early invitation if you'd like to join us at a celebration on February 22nd. It's a Saturday at 11 a.m. at the park. It's located at 700 Northeast 11th Street. So we hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Our Wild Spaces Public Places staff does a tremendous job of stewarding your tax money that comes in for these purposes, and we really have some fantastic staff all around, but particularly between Wild Spaces Public Places and our parks staff. They do a great job together, and next time you're out at one of our wonderful parks, which we have, I think, 26 of right now, make sure to thank some of the staff. You see folks working at one of these Wild Spaces sites, make sure you thank them. We're putting signs up at each site where that work is being done, so you'll be aware of where your money's going as the Wild Spaces Public Places projects move along. There are lots of things I would love to talk about. I love talking about our parks. Again, we've got many, many of them. And someone brought up a good point about Hogtown Creek Headwaters Nature Park. It's near, it's not exactly, but it's very near the famous Mudcrutch Farm, which was Tom Petty's, one of his first bands, and one of the ones that became famous when they left Gainesville to go be Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers somewhere else. Not the same property, but very close to the same property. So it's neat to me to see musical instruments out there able to be played by kids in the neighborhood. I think that's a fantastic tradition that we're all able to take part in. So let me invite up folks from the Department of Mobility to tell you a little bit about what's going on with not only RTS, but mobility in general. So who's going to do that one? Tom, you got that? Great. It's Tom Adiaga from RTS.
All right, tonight we kind of had a little change of the name. It's transportation and mobility. And that, what Mr. Ward talked about earlier, is we're not just a bus service. We're traffic signals, we're parking, and transportation. District 2, we have 39 fixed routes. Out of those 39 fixed routes we have throughout the city, 11 touch this district. Route 3, yeah. Route 3, Route 6, Route 8, Route 10, Route 15, 24, 26, 27, 29, 39, and Route 40 all come here. Or in and about that map, it shows where those routes go. This here is part of what's called the TDP, or Transportation Development Plan, and it shows an expansion of a service that we started on the east side, Mobility on Demand. And these zones are in part in District 2. In District, what this would be actually a small 12-seater, 10-seater van picking up folks from their home and taking them within this zone and back to store, back in that zone, and then to Rosa Parks. What's going on in the future? This summer, we're expecting our first delivery of an all-electric 40-foot bus. As everybody knows, technology is changing. We're trying to stay in the forefront, and this is one of our efforts. On the bottom of that slide, we have our first autonomous vehicle that will be starting on Monday, 9 o'clock, light lot 10 on 2nd and 2nd. It will be the unveiling of that. This is, the public is welcome. This will be our first, again, the first day of this. And this is why we're trying to stay with all new technologies, because 40-foot buses, they work great, but we have to figure out how to make transportation in Gainesville better. You saw the traffic to get here today was pretty bad, and we're trying to be the answer to this. Okay, some of our efforts that we've done, like I said, the Mobility on Demand, we call it last mile, first mile. It has started in the east side. That service, we were hoping to get 20 a day. We're getting right now like 48 for each shuttle per day, and we were hoping for 20. That's been a great success. Those zones that I was talking about, that we're going to expand those services throughout the city. The upgraded bus technology, I just mentioned the electric bus. We have 5 hybrids that we got in 2012, 2013, but this one that's coming this summer is all electric, no diesel, it's all electric. We also have, with that on-demand service, we have an app that you could dial in your service. Pick me up at 8:30. I need to get dropped off at 4:30. So this is our way to not Uber, but our way of doing this kind of service. Future events, March 7th on a Saturday at RTS, we're going to have a bus rodeo and food drive. So if you want to see how the skills of the bus drivers, how they go around cones, and how they park, parallel park, reverse park, and speed through some barrels at the end, you can see that. It's pretty fun. In the future, we're going to try to do a stuff the bus with toys in the winter, and in the summer we're going to try to get a book drive and school supplies for the summer.
That's it.
Well, thank you very much.
I want to talk a little bit more about the transit zones, the first mile, last mile zones. Again, that's been very popular, way beyond what we expected in the pilot that we have been running in Southeast Gainesville. Zone 4 is kind of centered around, potential Zone 4 is centered around where you are right now. The idea is to allow people to dial up on your smartphone or to call a special phone number that will be very heavily marketed, so people will know about it. And basically, if you're in Northwood, the Northwood area here, up to, including Pine Ridge across the street, which is a critical place to help people get where they need to go, stretching out as far as Turkey Creek Forest, which is a senior community where many people don't have cars. They don't have their own transportation. It's entirely isolated geographically, so the ability to have those folks be able to call or dial up the zone bus, the first mile, last mile bus, to get here or to the Walmart parking lot across the street is a life changer for some of those folks. Pine Ridge, the community of condos across the street and just south, is an area that has been difficult for folks who live there and for the city for a long, long time. And I think adding some transportation on demand for that particular neighborhood is a life changer for some folks who live in there. These people are sort of isolated because there's no good way to walk to the Walmart, no good way to get across 34th Street. Florida Department of Transportation is not very interested in adding crosswalks there. So if we can help people get out of where they feel trapped, perhaps, on a daily basis, to resources like the senior center, like Northside Park, like Walmart, that changes lives. So I'm really looking forward to that Zone 4 of the first mile, last mile service becoming implemented. I can't tell you exactly when that will happen, but it is part of our transit plan, and it will be happening. We have other zones similar to that around the city, but obviously I'm a little partial to Zone 4 because it's here in District 2. And again, it's all of Northwood and reaching out to Turkey Creek Forest. Love to talk with you more about that afterwards, and you can talk to mobility staff about that as well. That's an exciting thing that I think will be a life changer for a number of people in these neighborhoods. So with that, I'm going to invite our GFR reps to come up and talk with us for a little bit.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sean Hillhouse. I'm your friendly neighborhood assistant fire chief, and I'm joined up here tonight with our community resource paramedic coordinator, Ariella Bach. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of an overview about the fire department to begin with, and then we're going to end with our CRP program. So Gainesville Fire Rescue covers the city of Gainesville with 9 fire stations, 188 emergency responders. And we utilize a 3-platoon system, meaning that those 188 people are divided into 3 different groups. We work a 24 on, 48 off shift. Specific to District 2, we actually have 3 stations, Station 5, Station 7, and Station 8 that covers the northwest area of Gainesville. So with that, we kind of split into 2 different categories for the fire department, our prevention efforts and then our response efforts. So on the prevention side, we do about 38,000 contacts at 248 public events per year, and we touch 58,000 people through our community efforts. On our response side, we had 34 what we call working fires in 2019, and we define that as a fire that's beyond the incipient stage. So we have a lot more of that where we go to, and we have cooking fires that we get there very quickly, and we're able to either carry something outside or put it out in a one room and content. But we had 34 working building fires that saved about $7.45 million worth of property. and that's an 85% property save rate. And we owe that to our staffing and how we're spread throughout the city with those 9 stations. And as the commissioner mentioned before, we are a ISO Class 2, Class 1 being the highest, and those classes do translate into what you're charged for your property insurance, so we're pretty proud of that. So one of the programs that falls underneath our EMS program is our CRP program, and I'm going to let our Community Resource Paramedic Coordinator tell you a little bit about that program.
Good evening. How's everyone doing tonight?
Great.
Are we awake?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Ward, for hosting us this evening. Like Chief Hillhouse mentioned, my name is Ariella Bach, and I'm the program coordinator for your CRP program. I'm honored to have been serving as this position for the past 4 years now. And just to set the stage as far as how community paramedicine came to be, there is a national trend of 911 calls rising and departments all across the country trying to figure out how they're going to respond to these calls. So community paramedicine is the solution and the byproduct of that problem. So here in Gainesville, we underwent a design thinking process, and the result of that process was this program. So what we do is we identify the root cause of the folks calling 911. What is the root cause of that call? And a lot of times we realize that it's a social problem. People don't have access to transportation, food, primary care services. So your fire department, through the community paramedicine program, is able to send a paramedic along with a resource technician, so someone with a social service background, into that patient's home in a non-emergency situation, get the family and everyone living in that home on the same page, and connect them to any resource they need. On a tertiary level, we also advocate on behalf of our patients and proven that this is a long-term solution by partnering with the patient's primary care doctors. Thank you, Chief.
So the slide that we currently have up just shows our responses for the CRP program. So you can see in District 2, we visited 28 locations and equated to 70 visits, 2.5 visits per location in District 2 in 2019. As Ariella pointed out, the program improves the quality of life of our patients, which was really important to us. And we partnered with Shands Hospital to be able to track the program to see how successful it was. And our program is cutting edge in the United States. And what we found was that we had a 40% reduction in emergency room visits, which was very big. And our 30-day readmission rates were reduced by 30% in our CRP patients, and the total days that they spent in the hospital was reduced by 55%. So there was a very big impact that the program had, and that translates, not only for the patient's quality of life improvement, but also for the responders, because the CRP program gives our emergency responders a program that we can contact whenever we start seeing repeat visits. And I know, for the first part of my career, we would go to patients and we would offer them a ride to the hospital. And then I may go back to the next shift and I'd see the exact same patient, and we would offer them a ride to the hospital. And it took us a while to figure out that taking somebody to the hospital was not fixing that problem. So that's why the fire department came up with the Community Resource Paramedic Program. So it's improved the quality of life for the responders, because at the end of the day, when the bell goes off, the firefighters go out to help people. So this gave us an outlet to really be able to do that, and partnering with Shands, Ariella was able to quantify that for us, and it's had a great improvement. So thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you tonight here at District 2, and look forward to answering any questions that you may have later.
Ariella, thank you. That was Assistant Chief Hillhouse and Ariella Bach, who runs the CRP program. I want to recognize a few more folks here in the room, but before I do that, I want to remind you that if you have questions, please fill out a card, wave it around, the clerk staff will pick it up, and we'll go through those. I want to recognize I'm almost hesitant to call him the new city manager now, because he's been on board, 3 months now, so he's not new anymore really, but Lee Feldman is here, our city manager. Thank you, Lee. Our General Manager, Ed Bilarski of our utility, is here with us tonight. Ed? Our City Auditor, our Interim City Auditor, Lynn Loria, is here with us tonight. Our permanent city auditor has been hired and begins the end of February. I want to say the 24th or sometime around then. We also have with us tonight, and she and her staff have done an amazing amount of work to put not only this together, but all the district meetings like this together. And again, this is a work in progress. We've never done this sort of thing before. So we owe a special round of applause to City Clerk Michelle Gainey and her staff for working this out. Marie from the clerk's office is here and has been very helpful. Lindsay Hoffman is here. Kristen Bryant is here. By the way, if you set up an appointment with me or with Commissioner Hey Santos, Kristen will be the one that you talk to. She does amazing work for us to help keep us organized and moving forward. Let's see. Shelby Taylor, our communications director, is here, and she has a wonderful team that is here with her to put this on video and to create the sound and all that sort of stuff tonight. So thank you, Shelby, for being here. Let's see, our Chief of Police, Tony Jones, is here, and with some other officers. So we'll go through some questions, but if you have things that you want to talk to folks one-on-one about, to commissioners or to the folks that I've introduced here, we'll all be around. There's plenty of snacks to enjoy. So please do ask questions when we're done. You know, if you want to have a one-on-one conversation, this is a good opportunity to do it. It's not like City Hall where there are a million things going on at once. This is a good opportunity to really get to know our city staff and our city commissioners. So we have a couple of questions already ready up here. Just wave it up in the air and somebody will come around and get it. We have a question about speed zones, and I think a question about devices to monitor and slow down traffic in neighborhoods. I think we've had some pretty good success with that on a couple of county roads within the city. The 16th Avenue has a couple of signs that certainly catch my attention and remind me how fast I'm going, or either remind me that I'm doing a great job below 40 miles an hour or tell me to slow down. And that's helpful to me. It's that feedback loop that, science tells us actually works on humans. So those are things that we can put in place and have put in place in some places, and I hope we'll be doing a little more of, that help us do a good job of driving. Because when the thing that slows traffic down more than anything is when we as humans don't do a great job driving. That's just a truth of it. So anything that can help us keep our mind on the road, and hopefully the legislature helped remind us of that by telling us that you're going to get a ticket for texting and driving. So anything like that reminds us to keep our eyes on the road and our hands on the wheel is a very positive thing. I hope that we can get some more of these reminder devices set up, but that's a fairly long process, but I hope we can get more of those. It's certainly less expensive than putting extra officers out to do that work. So thanks for that question. I have a question, how will an autonomous bus help traffic in District 2? It won't help traffic in District 2, and I don't think anybody's pitching it as such a thing. What it does is help traffic between downtown and the University of Florida, which is frankly where most people in our community work. So it will run continuously during daylight hours. I'm not sure exactly what the end hours are on that, but it'll be running consistently between the downtown parking garage, the southwest garage, and at First 10th Street, and it'll eventually go across the street all the way into campus. So it's an air-conditioned opportunity to quickly get back and forth and reliably get back and forth from downtown to the University of Florida campus, which I'm looking forward to. I need to go back and forth consistently, and I know thousands of other people do as well. So rather than getting in your car, wherever your parking spot is, cranking it up, driving a couple of miles, and then searching the University of Florida for a parking spot, good luck with that, you'll be able to catch this consistently running back and forth. And I think that will have an impact on mobility downtown. But no, it doesn't change your commute from downtown to anywhere here in District 2, certainly. We're a growing community. We have about 135,000 people who live in Gainesville right now. We have about 270,000 people in the county, and a whole lot more than that come in to work and be educated and healed in our community from many counties surrounding us. We're changing, we're growing, and there's going to be some more traffic. We work with the Department of Transportation, Florida Department of Transportation, and I can't tell you that they have the same ideas about transportation as we do often at the city and county commissions. We're concerned with how people get around Gainesville safely and efficiently. They come with kind of a Jacksonville frame of mind of how do we put the biggest possible road here and move the most trucks? Well, that's generally not germane to what we're trying to do when we're moving people from neighborhood to neighborhood. So I'm not going to tell you it's easy. It's definitely not. You experienced that, many of you tonight, getting here. You put a couple of accidents on 6th Street and 34th Street, and it does slow things down. I will also tell you, and this is not what anybody wants to hear, but if you look at census data, Gainesville is one of the fastest places to get around of any metro area in Florida. So while it's not good, gosh, it's better than Orlando. And our challenge is don't let it become like Orlando. So we have that out there. And let's see, what else do we have?
Commissioner Ward, could I add one thing to that?
Yeah.
This project is a pilot. It's being funded through federal grant money. And part of the point of the pilot, we've got several agencies working with us, is we're learning. It's a learning experience to see how this program can possibly help solve future transportation challenges. And so we're looking at things like how can it help with neighborhood mobility? How can it help people get from a neighborhood to an employment center, to a medical center, to a recreational center? How can it help people that are mobility challenged get around our community better? How can it take people from a neighborhood to a transit hub? So you have to start with these things in a very sort of controlled, limited way. Start building out and understanding how they work better. You're looking at safety and putting safety first. Then as the more you learn, the more you're able to expand it out and try to move it to other applications around the city. And we're not the only ones doing this. So there's folks all around the world actually looking at these things. We share our information and data and learn from each other. And our end goal is to help give more people more options to safely move around our city. And so this is just one small piece of that. And I really hope that some of you can make it down to the first runs of that coming up on, was it Monday, right? February
Monday at 9,
Monday.
yep.
And check it out and see exactly how that might, and give us suggestions on how that might help you in your neighborhood and with your mobility, from the perspective that you're traveling every day. Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Bear.
One more. The other thing is it's an economic development tool as well. This is pushing the boundaries of autonomous vehicles. And because of that, it gets other companies looking at our city as being a place that they can go and they can bring their businesses here to be able to expand their technology and to be able to test it, which is bringing more jobs to our city. So with us taking the lead on this, I believe it will create more jobs in our community.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm excited about the autonomous vehicle program. I think it's going to be interesting. We're going to learn things from it. This is not the first time it's been on our streets, by the way. It had a very quiet run back and forth before there were questions about how to permit something like this at the national level from the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. Not because there were problems with it, because they didn't know how to permit, because it's new. It doesn't have a steering wheel. So it has been tested on our streets already. It's safe. I've walked out in front of it, so have other commissioners, so have assistant city managers, and it stops. I can't always say that for human drivers. So next question here, is there a charge for the first mile, last mile bus? No, right now there's not. It's been as a pilot program in Southeast Gainesville, it's been entirely funded through by partnership with the county. And as we continue to roll these out, the different zones for first mile, last mile, my hope is that we continue to not have a fee for that. The whole idea is to help people who don't otherwise have the opportunity to get where they need to be, to get the services and the goods that they need to get, which spurs our economy and helps people in our community for a very, very low price. So right now, no, there is not a charge for first mile, last mile. The next question is, how long do we follow the clients we pick up for social services through GFR? And Ariella is going to answer that one.
So this is a completely patient-centric program, meaning no two citizens' journeys through the CRP program is going to be the same. We follow patients for anywhere up to 3 weeks to 2 years. It's really dependent on what the citizens' needs are, and then how best we can help them.
Great, thank you. Don't go anywhere there because there's another one here. The GFR CRP program is fantastic. It says right here. I know it was a pilot. Are there continuing funding and support to continue and expand this vital program? GFR and the program are a treasure. Thanks to them with applause, she writes. It is something that will need to continue to be funded. It works very, very well. I don't think it's something that our community can afford to give up on, but I'll let Ariella tell you detail on that.
The short answer is yes. Yes, we're always looking to expand. We just hosted our second annual Community Wellness Fair. It was hosted in Village Green. We had about 200 people come through, and we're hoping to host more events like that in the near future. We're also hoping to expand upon our medical scope, what we're able to do in the homes without taking patients to the doctor and to the hospital. So big things are definitely coming. We are finalists right now for a $1 million research grant through the National Science Foundation, which is really exciting. We are looking for funding.
Very good, thank you. She mentioned the National Science Foundation grant that we're applying for now. We are already working with the University of Florida on a large, and I can't remember how many $1 million it is, but a substantial National Science Foundation grant that's already been awarded to the City of Gainesville and the University of Florida. One of our assistant city managers is one of the key investigators, I think they call it, on that grant. And it's the kind of grant that cities our size don't get, pretty much ever. So that's the sort of thing that goes on behind the scenes at the City of Gainesville. We are innovative. I don't ever want to be cutting edge. I don't want to be bleeding edge, but I want to be out there near the front of programs. Let somebody else, be on the cutting edge, and we're right behind that, and we consistently are. And that's because we have the resources of the University of Florida here, of Santa Fe College here. People know this is a learning environment and an environment that wants to innovate, and we are able to take advantage of those things because of where we are. And I think the more we embrace who we are as a city, and don't lament, we don't make widgets, we don't do this, we don't do that, and embrace what we do, which is educate people and heal people and innovate, I think the better off we're going to be as a community. That's editorial comment on my part. This next card, by the way, I have 2 more cards, and so if you have any other questions, wave your card around pretty quickly because when we get through these, we're gonna shut it down. This one says, as a former Gainesville Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs Advisory Board member, I wish to thank our elected officials and city and county staff for the exemplary job you've done for as long as I can remember, which here in North Florida extends back to prehistory, which he writes is 1955. So, and that wasn't even a plant, so cool. One more, it's kind of a series of questions that I'm going to try to get through here. How are we going to, let's say, improve RTS and mobility service? I think we've talked about that a good bit this evening. That is a commitment, and I will tell you that as we grow, as we add people to the metro community, and as we add people in the city limits, it's not all going to be car-based. It can't be. Because that's how we get like Orlando. We have to think ahead. We have to think many steps ahead with things like this first mile, last mile service and other services that help people get around without having to be a single individual in a car driving down 34th Street. We have to think bigger and different. So we will continue to do that. First mile, last mile is one of the ways that we're able to do that. Wave your card if you got it. Otherwise, we're going to shut her down. Lou, we already got yours.
Can I do a second?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do one more. Yeah.
recycling program, we all pay monthly for your recycling. I'd like to know more about the details on that, because what you're allowed to recycle, and I'm a,
Okay.
I'm a new reduce, reuse, recycle proponent, old tree hugger, as you can tell from my hair.
Yes, I'll speak to that. We have a brand new person on staff. What's the title of the person who's working with zero waste? Our sustainability manager is new to the city and will be working with Zero Waste Gainesville and other organizations, as well as the University of Florida and the county, to improve what we do. We're certainly at a time internationally where recycling is a little different than it was a few years ago. We have to rethink a lot of this stuff, and to rethink recycling, what we have to do is go back to the first two R's, reduce and reuse. Reduce, we are in the process of working on that. The state preempted some of our reduction attempts, but we, as possible, as we can, we're reducing plastic in this city. We're committed to continuing to do that. Reuse, before you put it in the orange or the blue bin, think about, is this something that could be reused? When you make purchasing decisions, and it's hard, I know, we all have to retrain ourselves, I do too. When you purchase things, is this something that can be reused? Is this something that's going to go in the garbage pile, or is it something that can be used many times? Reduce, reuse, recycle. We all have to remind ourselves that there are 3 R's and not just one. But we do have bringing on new staff to work with the county and the university to bring best practices for zero waste to Gainesville and best practices for sustainability here. So there's going to be a lot more information coming on that in the coming months and years, but it's going to be different years from now than it is right now, I will tell you that. Many things will be changing in our world, and certainly how we do recycling is one of those things that's going to be different.
Chair Ward?
Yeah.
So another update on that. On February 27th at our General Policy Committee meeting at 1 p.m. at City Hall, we'll be discussing a zero waste ordinance, so in essence a revamp of our recycling ordinance. Our recycling ordinance was written probably, I think, over 25 years ago and really hasn't been updated. To Commissioner Ward's point, things have changed. Ways to do it have changed. And we have to rethink how we do waste. So putting forward a proposal for a pretty much complete revamp of our recycling ordinance and putting forward a zero waste ordinance so that we can move down a path towards zero waste.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So please come out on February 27th. So
Yes.
if you're interested in that. 1 p.m.
So last question here. How can we stagger work and college beginning and ending times to spread out traffic? That's a terrific idea. We certainly can't tell the university when they can begin and end work schedules. People are going to kind of gravitate towards starting around between 8 and 9 and ending around 5. That's what our society does. We can certainly work to recommend that businesses and services and UF and Santa Fe think a little differently on that. And I will tell you that the parking lots at UF do begin to empty out a lot faster than 5, and they often classes certainly start before most other businesses open. So there's some of that already at work. I would encourage people, when you have the opportunity to be flexible, consider being flexible. There are times in Gainesville, about 3 months ago, I was able to go from Grace Marketplace to Oak Hall School in 25 minutes without ever going over the speed limit. It is possible to get around this town pretty quickly, but you have to time it right. If you want to do that at 5 o'clock, it's going to take a little longer than 25 minutes, but we know that. So it's, again, just like traffic safety is incumbent on all of us, making those different choices when you have flexibility to be flexible and choose times that are a little less crowded. That's something we're all going to have to do, and we have to make those adjustments. If you've been here, some of us since 1955, since 1967, it used to be really easy to get around Gainesville when we had 70,000 people here. That's not the city we are now. Again, we're a metro community of 270-some thousand people. Traffic is worse than it used to be. We have to think differently. And I'm not going to promise you that we're going to wave a magic wand and make traffic awesome. We're not. we're all going to have to be a part of that solution by choosing to be more flexible and keeping our eyes on the road. So, thank you all once again for being here. I want to thank my fellow commissioners for coming out tonight, and thank all of you for taking your evening. There are other things you could have been doing with your evening, and I appreciate you coming out here. Ma'am, do you have a card written? So I'm going to ask you to talk to the city manager afterwards, because that's a pretty specific question, and he'll send you to the right folks to get a good answer. It is going to be a work in progress. I will say, you don't have to use a paper straw. I know nobody likes paper straws. I don't either. You don't have to use paper straw. What the ordinance says is you can't use a plastic straw. And actually, you can bring your own plastic straw. My family brings stainless steel straws with us when we go out. My wife keeps a stack of them. I keep some of them. There are other ways to do this. There are silicone straws. There are many ways to do it. You don't have to have a flimsy paper straw. And I will say, when I was a kid, which is longer and longer ago, you didn't automatically get a straw when you went somewhere. That's something to consider as well. The idea is to put less plastic in our environment, because plastic doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. The straw you used this afternoon is going to be there for your great-grandchildren somewhere in a landfill, because it doesn't go away. So it's not just about the turtles. No, it's probably not going to flow out to the ocean from here, but it doesn't ever go away. That's a very serious problem. When it does finally break down, it's toxic. So, yeah, it's convenient. Plastic straws were great before we all realized that they didn't go away and were toxic. But now we know, and when you know better, you got to do better, right? So that's my thinking on that, but I will ask the city manager to talk with you about that specific issue. Thank you all again for being here. I appreciate it, and hang around, talk to folks afterwards. Thanks.